Hi everybody, welcome to Commander Critic. Today's video, I want to talk about the updates to the Game Changer list. Now, I'm not going to be talking about every single card. I'm more or less going to be discussing my opinions on how the state of the game is now that this has been implemented for a bit, and also my thoughts on the bracket system. Now having had a chance to play with all these new rules in effect. And please let me know in the comments what you think, how they've affected, or maybe they didn't affect, where you play. But definitely let me know in the comments. So here's the latest Game Changer list here. The cards in orange are the newest cards that are added. And if you notice, the 5 unbanned cards are also on the Game Changer list. I think that now that they're starting to add more cards to the list, it's going to change how the brackets are. I think the meta is going to change a little bit, where we're going to have Tier 1, Tier 2. Tier 3 is probably going to be less and less, and everything's going to be more Tier 4 for the meta, and then CEDH. The reason I think that is because you're going to have a deck that has 3 Game Changers, and that's Tier 3, but then they add another card to the list that's in the deck as well. Now you have more than 3 Game Changers in the deck. And you're not going to just take one of them out. So the deck is now going to be considered Tier 4. So I think that that's kind of where the meta is going to be going. And, they may take some cards off the list, all depends. But, we'll see how that goes as the future comes. Fine with the Game Changer list. It doesn't really change my local meta. I mean, I do play mostly kitchen table Magic, and I play at LGSs sometimes, and I haven't seen it really affect the meta. We just discussed what kind of power level decks we want to play. People do mistakenly, not at their own fault, misjudge the power level of their decks, I feel. And, there's not to blame for that. Thinking, oh, I got a Tier 3 deck, it's fine. But turns out it plays more optimized than they think because we really never had to categorize it before that. So, it's one of those things that we're just still going to have to get used to. And if you're playing casual, it's not going to really matter. Like, I don't care what people play. If I'm playing in the pod, if someone wants to play a deck of all proxies, that's fine, as long as it's not an event that is organized at an LGS, because they're not going to allow that anyways. But if it's a casual game, we just want to play. That's what the game was designed for, to bring in a community and to just have some fun in your time off, and created this fun hobby. So that's kind of what I think about that. Now, there are a couple of cards that have been added to the Game Changer list that I do want to mention. Just my thoughts on that. I know that there is a rule in place where if you have a commander deck and you play it just as is, then even if it has a Game Changer printed in it, you can still keep it as a Tier 2, because precons are typically designed to be Tier 2 decks. And I'm specifically talking about the Abzan Armor deck, which was just released with Dragonstorm. And it contains a copy of Seedborn Muse. And that now is on the Game Changer list. So if you run that precon and you don't change anything about it, it's still considered Tier 2 for the purposes of the bracket format. The other card I want to talk about is Gamble. Now, it's a cheap cost tutor in red, and I think the reason why they put it on the list is because they're trying to get all the tutors on the Game Changer list, and I can understand that part of it. But Gamble does have a downside, because you have to discard a card at random. So you may end up discarding the card that you went and searched for, or just another card in your hand. So there are going to be situations where you're not going to want to play it. If you draw the card and you only have one other card in your hand, you're not going to want to play that card, because you got a 50-50 chance of keeping what you draw or what you search for. So I think because of that downside, I don't know that I 100% agree that it should be on the Game Changer list. But I think that they looked at tutors as a whole, and because they added Worldly Tutor as well. So I think that that's why they made the decision that way. But, like I said, that's my opinion. And that's how I feel about game changers. Like I said, I think they're fine, and I'm fine with the bracket system because that really hasn't changed anything in the groups that I've been playing with. But again, they're going to always update every so often, and we'll see what happens in the future. Please let me know in the comments, though, if you've played in any organized event where they did strictly decide which tier level you're playing and how that worked out, and what you think about the new game changers, and anything you think that shouldn't be on the list. And if you have any ideas about future unbannings too, please let me know. The previous video talked about the latest unbanning, so let me know in those comments. And if you like what you see, please subscribe, and you'll be notified when new content comes out. I really appreciate all my supporters, and I hope you all have a great weekend, and we will see you next time.